المعلقة على كورنيش الدوحة بعدها البوست ريس ستوديو.
With an obvious question before the start of the day. Yes, former leader. Taylor Phinney, the best young rider here. It's almost hard to imagine that Taylor Phinney is still under 23, but he is. Yes, Bernard Eisel signing on as well. He's illuminated quite a few days today. Sky have been trying their best. Maybe it's a day for them to strut their stuff with the likes of Edvald Boasson-Hagen. We'll see. And here he is, as if by magic. Yeah, it's there's been a deficit as far as they're concerned, and there was yesterday with Radio Shack Leopard. Fabian Cancellara looked a bit peaky. Well, he's back in the pink. Obviously had a good night's sleep. Heinrich Hausler, well, he's been up there as well on occasion. Expecting to see him try and do one last thing here. Many of these riders, of course, heading off to Oman. So staying in the region. Yes, it's a busy old schedule in this part of the world, and when you know what the weather is like in Europe, then you count your blessings that you're here in 27 Celsius of sunshine. Yeah, it feels an awful lot hotter today as well because there is absolutely no wind. We came here expecting wind every day. It did blow up, of course, on occasion. Yes, the opening stage, in point of fact, where Omega Pharma Quickstep did such a good job of relaying Mark Cavendish back after he found himself in the third bunch as the wind did its job. Taylor Phinney and Mark Cavendish shooting the breeze. The only breeze we've got today. So out they went. This was earlier on today. 116.5 kilometres, with 60 of those kilometres to be contested on the Corniche itself. Well, held up behind the cars before they were unleashed, and as you can see, you join us here. And that's the point we're at. At Al Wakra, Taylor Phinney got himself an extra couple of seconds, denying Bernard Eisel all three. And Van Kiersburg as well was up there, just monitoring the situation on behalf of Omega Pharma Quickstep, a bit like Nicky Terpstra did yesterday. And as you can see, there the result of the second sprint. Van Avermaet, Blythe and Phinney making it a BMC party. I think just kind of trying to bully Mark Cavendish mentally, perhaps, but it'll take an awful lot more than that. So BMC wrapping up those points at the very last of the intermediate sprints of the day. But as you can see, there's Mark Cavendish in his golden jersey, and he's got his entire team in front of him. It's a great thing to have firepower, and he's got plenty. They've proven that. Maybe a unit that's new to come together, but it's kind of well, regular fashion, I think. Ilio Kaiser on the front doing an awful lot of legwork early on, and then they kind of swap duties with Nicky Terpstra usually being the last man here, it seems, just guiding this man. Mark Cavendish in his golden jersey, all but nailed on his back, I think. And it's a happy old time of things. Have you seen this picture? Yeah, there you go. It's just probably got a Great Dane at home or something like that. Yes, Omega Pharma Quickstep. I mean, very relaxed in the cars, is it not? Because it's all done bar the shouting. 30 kilometres to go. So you're going to get to see this finish line, well, again and again and again and again. So they come by once more. This will be the approach, and as you can see, a wide open highway, and provided you don't get it wrong before the 50-kilometre mark and end up the wrong side of the cones, you should be okay. Mark Cavendish has of course taken the tumble on occasion here in Qatar, and he'll be hoping that he can stay on board today just to finish with a flourish, and one suspects that he might just be hunting for 4 stage wins in a row. 3rd, 4th and 5th stages already belong to him. The wind did the damage to his prospects on the opening day, and the team time trial Omega Pharma Quickstep didn't quite have what BMC had on the day, which was a very well-marshalled team. But after a few words, Mark said he'd led the discussion. Yes, they finally really got a very tight team together for yesterday. And with 30 kilometres to go, it's kind of relaxed time, because the likelihood of anyone trying something here, especially with Omega Pharma Quickstep on the nose of the peloton as we see, yes, highly unlikely. In fact, if you're wondering what the different jersey is there, striped amongst them all, apart from Mark Cavendish in gold, it's Nicky Terpstra, the Dutch champion. You should know that by now. 29 kilometres to go then. We are in Doha with this amazing skyline. Look at that. The buildings here, it's sort of how can we put it, an architectural festival. It's amazing. if you are an architect, then this is the place to come, because you're almost given a free hand, it seems. They are indeed developing the most amazing centre. I think it's an exhibition centre or an academy, which is based on a desert rose, desert rose, the petals of which fallen one upon the other. And it is an absolutely beautiful building in prospect. But just look at this skyline. They are building modernity here. It may well be lacking in topography, this country of Qatar, but believe me, when it comes to architectural ambition, they have it all. Yes, Taylor Phinney. Well, some say he's got it all. We're just waiting to see what his career brings along the way. Plenty has been delivered so far, and indeed he wears that young rider's jersey with pride and with honour as well. Quite a thing to pick up again and again. There are a lot of very good young riders out there, but Taylor Phinney, he's kind of senior beyond his age, really. He really is a team leader proper despite his youth. Yes, watch out for him. There'll be more good things to come. There were many hunts for his signature along the way. Now, 28 kilometres to go. Almost time for Matt Rendell to open up a Hans Christian Andersen story and just keep us entertained, because this is going to be a long run in, Matt. Well, there you are. Unfortunately, we don't have Matt Rendell with us. Let's just hope that we can get the batteries sorted out, because otherwise you're going to get very bored of me over 28 kilometres, I can tell you that much. So Mark Cavendish then, he's had his time really with various different teams. HTC High Road, you may remember, was where he really started to collect a whole raft of prizes and plaudits. We knew he was quick before then, of course, but yeah, he sort of established himself, and then it was in cruise mode when he got to Sky, albeit that he wasn't the main focus of that team, and so he put out the searchlights, and I imagine there were a number of different options available to him, and in the end, Omega Pharma Quickstep is where he settled. Tom Bonan, of course, also a quick man, but he's moving more towards the classics these days. You know, he's not long of tooth, but he is long of leg, and not quite spinning up the same as Mark Cavendish. So Omega Pharma Quickstep not sending Tom Bonan here, despite the fact he's a four-time winner. The reason, apparently, is elbow surgery. But only cutaneous, so only an infection, a mild skin infection. I just had a whiff of an excuse about it to let Mark do his stuff, but, you know, we speculate. But yes, Tom Bonan, who won here 4 times, maybe just wanted to allow Mark to strut his stuff, and that's exactly what he has done here. And you'll be pleased to know that we've been joined by Matt Rendell. Matt, no wind, but it's going to be reasonably benign, one feels, until perhaps about 8 to go, I should think.
Well, I think in the final 2 laps we might have some attacks, but all praise to BMC, who've come out with a strategy today. Team Sky had been riding very aggressively at the front of the peloton in the earlier part of the stage today, and BMC nonetheless managed to get their man Taylor Phinney across the first sprint, cutting 3 seconds off his time and crucially gaining a second on Bernard Eisel. Sky, of course, looking to try and get Eisel on the podium, started the day 5th, 24 seconds, and then before the second sprint, that's the 4th passage of the finish line, 5 kilometres before that passage, Steve Cummings, the British rider, 34 on BMC, he'd been resting his legs at the back of the peloton. He launched a tremendous attack and led by 8 seconds at one point, led for 4 kilometres. Team Sky got on the front. Luke Rowe did plenty of work, dragging him back, and as they made the junction, closed down Cummings' attack. BMC headed to the front, and at the second intermediate sprint, Van Avermaet got across first, Blythe got across second, and Phinney again was third across that line, got another second. So I think BMC know that there is, barring alien abduction, Cavendish has got this, but they will make sure they get two men on the podium at the end of this race. A little bit of pride, of course, coming out to Oman. We have have Cadel Evans, we have Philippe Gilbert, but Finney riding aggressively, bags of panache, bags of strength, and making sure it won't be a BMC 1 and 2, but it may very well be a BMC 2 and 3. That's down to Finney, that's down to Bookwalter, and I'm hoping in a few minutes to have a chat with Stuart Jackson, their directeur sportif, who's put together a plan, and so far they seem to have executed it perfectly, Carlton. So with that, I'll hand back to you.
They have executed it perfectly, all bar the one problem for them, the stick in the mud, just happens to be Mark Cavendish. Yes, he's a class apart, we know that, and he's come here as red-hot favourite to do something special. I don't think we would have expected him to collect so many sprint stages, to be honest, because, you know, a new team. We suspected that he might not have a clear run through. In fact, he said as much as himself in after the opening stage. You know, he left his legs a little bit behind on the stage, having to battle back, and as a result, it was the escapees that got there. That was just one bridge too far, really. But given the chance, and if he's in the front group, then it's hard to bet against him. And after the team time trial, it's all belonged to Mark Cavendish. Stages 3, 4 and 5, and he comes here in the golden jersey. There he is, just off centre of your screen to the right-hand side as they come across the line once more with 24 kilometres to go. Mark Cavendish is, yes, as Matt hilariously pointed out, barring alien abduction. I think that's what the teams would probably be. Maybe they're putting out international call signs. Who knows? Because there's no stopping this man, especially the way his team are functioning. And if BMC, Matt, have been doing a job, then so have Omega Pharma Quickstep, have they not?
They have indeed, but let's stick with BMC just for a second. I'm with Stuart Jackson. Stuart, you came out with a plan today quite clearly. It's gone very well. Taylor's cut 4 seconds off his time, and if all things go well, you're going to have 2 men on the podium. That's a job done.
Yeah, we're really happy with our Tour of Qatar this year. You know, just starting out with the stage win and taking the jersey was a big accomplishment to us, but really the team time trial was probably our proudest stage, and you know, for the team to put it together, all together, everyone, you know, being a part of it is huge, and yeah, we're really happy with how things are going.
With Cavendish in this type of form, on this type of race, there isn't a great deal that can be done about it. Taylor Finney's gone out, he's ridden with a great deal of panache. I suppose you've got to be happy with that.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I mean, Cavendish is the best in the world, and everyone knows that, but we tried to play some cards, and I think even in the sprint, we'll still play one more card that we have, and see, you know, anything could happen in a sprint, so we'll see what we can get out of it.
Fantastic. So there's a little scoop. BMC have got big plans for the sprint at the end of the day. One final question. You've got the big boys coming out to Oman. You've got Cadel, you've got Philippe Gilbert. You must be very proud with what this younger group of riders have achieved here.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great way to start out the year, especially with the group we have, and it kind of sets the stage for the rest of the year for us. It kind of gives us that momentum going into Oman and the spring races.
There we are, Stuart Jackson, master strategist. Good on you, well done. Well, Carlton, big things in store in the sprint. I just wonder what they can pull out of the hat.
Absolutely. I'd love to know which of their quick men are going to go for it today. I've got a feeling that you might see Adam Blythe up there. Let's keep our fingers crossed for that, shall we? That would be good. 22 kilometres to go. As you can see, pace up at the moment. They're just a little bit quicker than they have been. It's been averaging around about 45 kilometres today in the heat. I'm glad to be able to say that to you. I'm going to say it again, in the heat. I know that in Europe it's pretty miserable at the moment. Well, 27 Celsius here. Could do with a little breeze if I was ticking off the menu of desire when it comes to the weather systems at the moment. But yes, it's an enthralling finish to today. It will be in around about 12 kilometres time. I suspect all hell might break loose as BMC Racing action what Stuart Jackson has said the plan is, and that is to ensure at least, well, perhaps another stage victory. You never know. Brent Bookwalter did it as part of a break on stage 1 where the wind played a huge factor. If it's raw power today, though, they're going to have to work against Omega Pharma Quickstep, and that's a tall order. There are ways and means, however, and it's where you make your break, where you make the push. There are 3 roundabouts to be dealt with on this Corniche. You've just been past the one that sits off-centre, the one they take straight, as you will. Each end, there is a roundabout they have to go, of course, all the way around to make the hairpin. So yes, they've been through the one off centre. They're just passing now dead centre of the course, which is where the finish line is. So they're on the opposite side of the road as, yes, Fabian Cancellara decided to water up. 21 kilometres to go. I don't know whether whether they are in the right place here, but I think they kind of suspend the drinks licences, as it were, or the rules, and allow them to take something on board. And he's giving himself a little bit of a treat. It was a red can coming out. Couldn't quite see the name, but I'm sure you can possibly guess. Yes, so sometimes riders give themselves a little bit of a treat, especially at the end of a hard day or even a hard tour. And this has taken it out. It's taken its toll on some riders. Let's be sure of that. It's quite a decent test at the top of the season, this map, which is possibly the reason why it proved so popular and indeed useful. Oh, well, we've lost Matt again, I'm afraid. It seems that we have a blind spot on the Corniche here today. So we'll try and guess where that is and get back to you. Matt, you're back with us, which is very nice. We keep losing you, unfortunately. Seems to be a blind spot upon the Corniche. So I'll try and guess where that is. Passing the Flamme Rouge as they are at the moment. I was just saying what a decent test this is for riders, and indeed for teams at the top of the season. It's proving very useful, and as a result, popular.
Yes, indeed. Just in front of me, we're at the back of the peloton. We have a bunch of 2, 4, 5 Orica Green Eggs riders. We have 7 of the Argos Shimano riders. John Degenkolb looked to be riding into a little bit of form yesterday. I'm expecting them to try and get Degenkolb among the first to finish today. Looking across the roundabout at one end of this circuit with about a kilometre and a half to go to the finish line. It's still, of course, Omega Pharma Lotto leading out the peloton, but behind them, plenty of order, plenty of clusters of riders with the same jerseys beginning to get together. I tell you what we have seen, interestingly enough, Matti Breschel has been among the rearmost riders in the peloton all day. He's changed bikes twice, and it looked to me as though the bike change was really just an excuse to lose a little bit of ground and then do some interval training back up to the peloton. Hasn't really shown himself. We saw him yesterday, Matti Breschel, former silver medalist in the World Road Race Championships. We saw him helping out among the chase down yesterday. Seems to be in very good form indeed. Saxo Bank, Tinkoff, another team that hasn't really shown itself so far in this Tour of Qatar, and I wonder if they too will get either Benati or Breschel up there among the contenders for the stage win today.
It's amazing, isn't it, Matt? We've made some discoveries here, not least the form of Omega Pharma Quickstep, finally getting themselves a proper train sorted out, which is great. But Barry Marcus has been a revelation, not only to us, but to the likes of Mark Cavendish as well. It's been a real light that's been switched on for Dutch cycling, and I'm very excited about his prospects.
Absolutely, 21 years and 6 months old, Barry Marcus. We've spoken about him before. How could we not have done? He's the revelation of this race. Just to remind you, as we go across the finish line with 3 laps remaining, Marcus, the second youngest rider in this year's Tour of Qatar. He was second in the European Junior Road Race back in 2009. beaten by the Italian Luca Wackerman, but beating Arnaud Demar, one of the most explosive sprinters in the peloton today, a rider who will aspire to be competing with Mark Cavendish over the course of this season. Demar was only second with Barry Marcus ahead of him. He's a Madison rider, interestingly, Carlton. And of course, the Madison, as Rob Hales always insists, former world Madison champion with Mark Cavendish, the Madison is such a breeding ground, is such a nursery for sprinters. That's where you learn to get past bodies in the way, to read the race, to judge the distances, make sure you're first across the finishing line, and to negotiate a very packed and crowded track. Those are the skills that Cavendish has. Such a shame the Madison has gone from the Olympic Games. Because it's been it's the PhD of track races, really. It's one that if you're not, a cycling specialist, you look at the Madison and you think, well, what on earth is going on there?
My first Madison, actually, my very first Madison was called here, actually. It was the Asian Games, and it was controlled madness, as you quite rightly say. But yes, one of the other things, of course, amongst all of that strategizing are the intermediate bonuses and the sheer turn of pace, but having to turn it on and turn it off and save yourself and then deliver constantly. It is, as you quite rightly say, Matt, an amazing skill to be had. And, well, you never know. There are changes afoot to bring more of those events that have been struck from the Olympics back into the fold. And personally speaking, I'd like to see Madison return, and I'm sure you would too.
Well, I heard a crazy story told to me from someone very high up in the cycling administrative hierarchy that sitting next to Bernie Ecclestone at the Beijing Olympic Games in 2008, Ecclestone was looking at the Madison saying, well, this is completely incomprehensible. And such, of course, is the influence of Bernie Ecclestone that judgment was taken as effectively a decisive factor in deciding that the Madison was no longer worthy of being in the Olympic Games. It's inaccessible and so on. Well, I mean, if what Bernie Ecclestone understands and doesn't understand is the yardstick by which we decide what should exist in the culture and what shouldn't, I think we are utterly, utterly lost. And Mark Cavendish as a sprinter, that was where he learned his skills, and we'll go back to talking about Barry Marcus. This is where all this started.
Yeah, before we get ourselves into trouble.
He was the 2010 Madison champion in the Netherlands with Roy Peters, and that's where he's honed his skills. And over the past few weeks, the start of the 2013 season, as I say, 2 top 5 finishes in sprints won by Andre Greipel at the Tour Down Under, and 2 top 2 finishes in sprints won by Mark Cavendish. That's a pretty good place to start.
It is, and as you speak, we're looking at Mark Cavendish right now. We're also on board with Omega Pharma Quickstep, whose window you have just been knocking upon. And also, if you look by Mark Cavendish, you will see Barry Marcus and his Vacances Soleil team all in a very good position. Who then, Matt, would you say has disappointed, underperformed here? I think there's quite a few options in that regard.
Well, yes, I mean, Cancellara's a former stage winner here. The conditions haven't been hard enough for him. All that power, all that muscle mass. He delights in strong winds and cobblestones and everything that makes the going tough. We haven't really seen him. It's a little bit of a training ride for him. I think Andrea Guardini will have been hoping for better than 1/3 place. Looking ahead of me, I can see plenty of Astana riders massing towards the front. They'll be hoping to place him in the middle there. And Taylor Phinney has been outstanding, but I just wonder, I'd be deeply disappointed not to have won this. But 1 or 2 of the other sprinters, Bernardi comes here, does well. We haven't really seen him. Hausler, he's lost this race twice by 8 seconds. His entire season will be based on Milan-San Remo. so we can't judge him until later on. But I think quite simply, Terpstra, I would have said, has been one of the outstanding riders here, covered every break. And of course, the Omega Pharma Quick Step team getting together, composing themselels, learning to ride for Mark Cavendish and getting those 3 stage wins. Could very well make it 4 today, and GC, they've got everything right.
Absolutely. Yes, Cannondale have been showing themselves more willing over the last couple of stages, getting themselves into a decent position, but just not quite getting their train together for Viviani. Guardini and Astana, yes, they've got the Slovenian and the Ukrainian champions in Bozic and Grivko here, but they haven't really dragged themselves into the right positions on occasion. Guardini did get that 3rd place, but you know, as we mentioned, Marco Mercato and doing a proper lead-out job for Barry Marcus, who really has been something of an unveiling here. And it makes you look at the other names and think, well, what happened there? Edvald Bosenhagen, for instance, even though Sky have been working for him again and again, quite often we've seen riders at the nose just looking back and wondering where he is. A little bit of balking, just hasn't quite got the top-end speed just for the time being. 25 years of age now, Bosenhagen. I just hope it's not going to be one of those brief rockets that arcs and falls to earth. He's still got he's got to take another couple of steps forward, and there are others coming, let's not forget, wanting the same space in the road. Barry Marcus we've mentioned, but there are others as well, let's not forget. And yes, well, we'll see. And there we are. We're just getting some extra instructions coming through. I think Matt's mic there. But Mark Cavendish today, it's about him. He's in his pop at the moment. And as Matt was saying, this is a young team that's come here. They will have some other names coming in to join them. BMC in particular, don't forget, will say ta-ta to a couple of their youngsters, I suppose. But we'll see, because the big guns are coming for Oman as well as we get a little bit deeper into the season. But it's been a joy, to be honest, to be here in Qatar. Some great racing. Each stage has had its own character, very different. And today, I know it's a bit of a lap fest, this, and we don't have any escapees, but I suspect that within the next, 2 or 3 kilometres, we're going to see some action here, Matt.
Well, Carlton, there are 11 kilometres to go. We've just gone across the finish line. We'll go across it once more, and then there will be the final sprint. So just under 2 laps to go. And I'll tell you what we're saying. I mentioned to you a little while ago the presence of 7 Argos Shimano riders. I mentioned too that I fancy John Degenkolb to mix it with Cavendish and Guardini and the other big sprinters here today. And as we went across the finish line, the order clearly went down. They're moving down the right-hand side of the peloton in the sense that they're riding towards the front. A great big line of those white jerseys of Argos Shimano for John Degenkolb. He too, I think we'd have to put him among the riders who have underperformed here. But if they could get a stage win, or at least get him 2nd or 3rd today, that would just get their season off to a nice rolling start.
It would. Just as we were talking about Bernie Eccleston and F1, we've got H2O F1. Yes, the race on the water. The powerboats are in the bay as we speak, just off the Corniche. So if you see some rooster tails being kicked up by the water here, it's not the air shock from these guys that are causing the problem. No, they're having themselves another race out there, and rather impressive it is. I think we might pull back and just see the course that they're racing around. There we are. There is a re-liveried boat out there which is racing on behalf of Qatar, I can tell you. So the rest of them taking place in the United States in various harbours, ports and sounds all over the United States. So drama on the water, and there will be on the tarmac, you can be sure. 10 kilometres to go then. It's always a big marker. Lots of bottles getting jettisoned at this point, and just look at the ambition. Astana coming through here. Andrea Guardini is their top pick for today. Cannondale and Viviani, it's time for teams to get something out of this Tour of Qatar. I think we know who the winner's going to be, Mark Cavendish. Whether he'll win the stage or not is another question. There are a lot of teams who would just like a stage win to be able to take home as a sort of a parting gift, if you like. And Katusha also showing some ambitions here. Alexander Krivtsov and Pavel Brut can go quickly if they need to. And, well, they do need to, that is, if they want a stage win here today. 9 to go then. Pace is up, but it's starting to spread just a little bit across the road here, Matt.
Yes, and Carlton, among the other teams moving forward into position, Bardiani, Valvole, CSF Inox in the green, easily to confuse with the Cannondale team. Cannondale, of course, have those black stripes running down the spine and down the back of the shorts as well. Bardiani, Valvole, tragedy struck this formation on stage 1 when Sasha Mordolov fell onto his right hand and broke his wrist, his scaphoid, and had to go for scans and then flew home on the evening of day 2 of the race. Nonetheless, Filippo Fortin, the former, he was 6th in the 2011 Under-23 World Road Race. He's a big, powerful guy. He's got flame red hair that points straight up into the sky, and he has the look of a man who's on fire falling down a lift shaft, and he's got the sense of urgency as well. He got 4th place 2 days ago, Fortin. He's someone we often omit to mention among this incredible generation, with, of course, Viviani and Guardini of young Italian sprinters, and I think they may have been got a little bit of confidence. His role coming here, Fortin, was to work for Sasha Mordolo. He now has a free role, and if he can get a top 5 place today, that will be a very, very good finish indeed, Matt, for Bardiani Valvole CSF.
Matt, we've got BMC coming straight up dead centre, possibly just a little bit out of vision of you at the moment. And also Team Netap Endura. Now, Russ Dowling and Roger Kluger, possibly the picks for their team, and they're doing a superb job at the moment. And not only that, they are just finding themselves a proper amount of space here. I suspect that these roundabouts, and we've got this one here, 8 to go, it will be in just a few moments' time. In fact, we just clicked over that. 6 kilometres is the total distance, don't forget, after they cross the line and take the bell for the final time. This is going to be enthralling. Round they come. Very, very shortly, you're going to hear that bell, and then one suspects all hell's going to break loose, because road position, despite the fact that it's very, very good tarmac and indeed a wide open highway, there are plenty of options here, Matt, to choose from, and there is definitely a faster way through.
Yes, there is, and I can tell you one of the options, of course, is for Française des Jeux. They had a wonderful stage finish yesterday. Hutarovic, the Belarus champion, coming through for second and really challenging Mark Cavendish, who was rather exposed over the final 200 metres. It was a long, long sprint in, and Hutarovic catapulted off Cav's wheeled and came very, very close as Cav has been pressed so far this season. Now, as we swung around that roundabout, now approaching the finish line for the penultimate time, Hutarovic was up there, easy to recognise in his white Belarus champions jersey, the red stripe across it. He was fast yesterday. Cav acknowledged that, and he could pose a real danger today.
Yeah, he could. Bagdonas is also there, resplendent in his Lithuanian champions jersey. In fact, it's champions to the fore at the moment, as Borut Bozic, the Slovenian champion, is also very, very close to the front. Just look at how, though, Omega Pharma Quickstep have formed this sort of mini echelon, if you like, just to bully and hold on to that part of the road. So this will be the last 100 metres. There's the bell now. We have one full lap. There's the podium that they'll be standing upon at the end of today, the great and the good. So keep yourself safe. Make sure you're on the correct side of the road. One suspects that Omega Pharma Quickstep have been told exactly which way to be here.
Well, the peloton, Carlton, now spreading right across the road, as sometimes happens on this final stage of the Tour of Qatar. We've seen it so many times. There's such a sense of urgency. They're seeing the finish line so frequently that sometimes the teams get organised a little bit too far out. And over the final lap, the final couple of kilometres heading towards the finish line, there's a kind of ripple effect. The lead-out men begin to drop back back, and suddenly the main sprinters are exposed too far out. No one wants to take the initiative, and the riders with the really explosive power, and I'm thinking of course of Cavendish, also of Bouhanni. He was so fast in the third stage of this race, where we saw a little bit that effect. The urgency goes out of the lead-out. The lead-outs end a little bit too early. Suddenly, the sprinters have to do their own work. They look at each other.
They're doing it now, Matt.
You do it.
They're absolutely doing it
and
now.
And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Daniele Benatti from Saxo Tinkoff also coming up to the fore here. And going the long, long way round here. Bardini, Veloci, CSF Inox, thinking about Felipe Fortin. Well, we've talked about Fortin before, I beg your pardon, earlier on today. And they clearly, out front at the moment, are pacing everybody. Now, there was just a brief hiatus after they crossed the start-finish line here of these laps of the Corniche. It seemed that, as Matt was saying, they did get a little bit excited, and then all of a sudden it was, let's rest up just a little bit. We're burning a bit too much here. And suddenly Bardini have gone off and said, look, we can do this as well with 4 to go, and Astana the nearest to them. And Francis Desjeux, watch out for Nasser Bouhanni, the French champion, and Jeffrey Soup as well. He is there. Now they come down this Corniche on the water side. The finish is on the park side, if that makes sense, just a little bit inside. 4 to go then, 3 in just a few moments time, and Bardini, Veloci and Cannondale are doing a fantastic job. It is Cannondale on the front, excuse me for that, with a big stripe down their back for Viviani. So Cannondale's huge check over. Dimarchi, Curran, Ratto are here as well. Goodness gracious, look at the pace that they're laying down with 3 to go, and Neta Pejura have come to join the fun as well out front. It's between those two, and they are bullying the field at the moment. Nearest to them and possibly in the best position could be Sky here. They're in a decent spot, and it started to break down a little bit further. Oh dear, it's starting to fall apiece, and lots of looking over and falling apart. Lots of looking over shoulders, particularly for Francis Desjeux here. Well, who knows how this one's going to end. Right now, Cannondale and Viviani, along with Neta Pejura. I wonder if there's been some kind of alliance formed here. They've got one now, and Francis Desjeux hook it back together again. On the roll here, and lots of worried faces amongst Omega Pharma Quickstep here, because they've been brutalised by these other teams. Some may say just perhaps a little bit off the top draw, but absolutely not. They've got some really, really fine sprinters in here, and it looks like they're going to do a job here. Here comes Sky saying, thank you very much. We've decided to use your pace and enjoy it a little bit ourselves. And there's Edvald Bosenhagen just in P4 at the moment. They've edged themselves in front of Cannondale as we speak. And where's Omega Pharma Quickstep? That's the question. The golden jersey just a little bit further back. You can see him, Mark Cavendish, just on the right-hand side of your screen here. And it leaves enough room for Orica Green Edge to suddenly join the party, thinking about Krupis with Cook and Davis doing a proper job here. Sam Bewley sadly no longer part of this race. Big flick out from the shoulders here, from the elbow here. Eisel's done an amazing job for this team. He's been hoovering up points left, right and centre as far as the intermediate sprints are concerned, but he's very much part of the drivetrain here. And Edvald Bosenhagen is the man on the inside, or on the outside as we look at it here, closest to the Horlicks. Eddie Merckx doing a proper PR job here. Meanwhile, it's August Shimano that's come through here. August Shimano on the nose of this one. Oh, it's chop and change all the time. And Francis Desjeux are also involved here, and Saxo Tinkoff make amends for their lack of position earlier on. It's all over the place at the moment. The French champion suddenly makes his nose seen here. Nasser Bouhanni, who's in a great place here. Now, if Jeff Soup is his last man along the way here, he could do something very, very special. August Shimano then in a good position for John Degenkolb, with Tom Velas also fancying his chances here. Round they come. They'll come to the Flamme Rouge in just a moment's time. The pace is extraordinarily high at the moment. It's August Shimano that's just leaving everyone in their wake. Oh, there is on the left-hand side of your screen, right-hand side of the road, the red jersey of the Norwegian champion, Bosenhagen. Can he deliver? Can Cannondale pick it back up again? Mixed in with them are Bardini, Veloci, CSF. Oh, there'll be a little bit of a hiatus here as the quick men get it together, and suddenly no chance for them to rest. Absolutely not. Fortini's in a good position here, but is he going to have to do it all on his own? We look for the golden jersey. He's out of it at the moment on this particular stage. Mark Cavendish is just hampered. It looks like he's lost his teammates. It's gone a bit ragged as far as the front is concerned. And Astana go for it, and Andrea Gardini is waiting. He's got his teammate in front of him, and they're going to lose out if they're not careful here. Olga Shimano also coming through and looking very, very hot on this one. Oh, this is fantastic racing. It's Tom Feelers who's at the nose at the moment in white. And here comes Eddie Boss. Is he going to light it up and take one here? Not if they can help it. The French champions on this one. Is Bohani going to make his way through? Bohani for the French. Oh, and look at the further over. It's Katusha as well with Christopher Brut. Oh, the space. And Mark Cavendish fights from absolutely nowhere. A genius drive. Unbelievable stuff. Mark Cavendish makes it again. I thought he was lost, but he is found. And he's found 4 stage wins. What a champion in action. Goodness gracious me. Mark Cavendish. He is a bully in the very best sense. I feel beaten up myself. Well, it was the very last moment. He had to do it on his own. His team had paced him properly, but when it came to it, Cavendish, goodness gracious. Nicky Terps is getting a lot of thanks from him, and I'm not surprised one little bit. Well, it's a whole team effort. It has to be to take a title here, and they've done it. Now, watch the gold jersey of Mark Cavendish. At the moment, he's in P20, bottom left-hand side of your screen, mid-left, I should say. And there he goes. This is the moment he lights it up. Left it extraordinarily late, but you know what? Late's good enough, provided you're first through the door at the party. And that is exactly what he did again. Unbelievable stuff. Once again, Utarovic close to him, the Belarusian tight on the inside here. Made that lunge once more, but Cav enough time to sit up and say thank you very much.
It's going to open on the left, so it's waiting on the left, wait. Okay.
There you go. He's surfing the spare road, and I think we're listening in to exactly that comment. He knows these finishes like the back of his hand. He hardwires them into his brain, and he has delivered yet again. Absolutely superb. Let's see the winning margin. It's a wheel. Breathless stuff. Mark Cavendish, Utarovic, nearest man to him. Barry Marcus again. Goodness me, Barry, you're going to give us a heart attack. Adam Blythe in 4th place ahead of Taylor Finney. And Kenny Van Hommel in 6th place ahead of Christophe Eisel, Buhani and Boivin. It has been enthralling, this Tour of Qatar. We know about the star that is Mark Cavendish, and it is still high in the firmament. There are others that are starting to show themselves. Barry Marcus is one of those, and yet again goes close. Unbelievable. Here we go. Well, at complete opposite sides of the road, but take nothing away from that. And look at this, the line approaching, and there's the lunge. Barry Marcus just hidden in there on the wheel of Utarovic, the Belarusian champion. But there's really one man that this tour has been about, and it's been Mark Cavendish and his team. There we are. All credit to Barry Marcus there at number 125, and the rest of them. Taylor Finney also getting himself up. Good work by BMC here. Adam Blythe in the frame too. Bacon Soleil did a quiet job there, but yes, sing his name loudly. You're going to hear a lot more about Marcus, that's for sure. This was the one to go, Mark. And talking about Mark, look at left-hand side of the road here. Now, he said, you heard, perhaps you did, perhaps you didn't, that he wanted to go to the side of the road which would be left spare as they turned right.
شكرا لك العربي المحمودي. جهد كبير خلال طوفي السيدات والرجال على مدى 10 أيام. إذن هذا هي الكيلومتر، هذا هو الكيلومتر الأخير من هذه المرحلة والدخول الصاروخي. هنا كان ربما في صورة جوية أظهرت كيف أن كان هناك في دفعة، نوع من الدفع اللي صار، لكن لم يتأثر مارك كافنديش وشق طريقه بكل ثقة إلى خط النهاية، فائزا بهذه المرحلة بتوقيت ومقداره 2 24 دقيقة و31 ثانية. إذا يتوج مارك كافنديش للمرة الأولى بلقب بطولة طواف قطر للدراجات الهوائية. سنتوقف مع فاصل قصير لضرورات إعلانية، فاصل قصير ونعود.